Boom! Welcome back to the Sebs Show, everybody. It's your boy Sebs and your co-host Gib. Today we are previewing Fight Night UFC Lincoln, or UFC Fight Night Lincoln, whatever you want to say, and Gaethje versus Vick. Gonna be a good card. Fucking, that's already a crazy fight by itself. Gaethje versus Vick. I definitely want to see where that one goes. But I'm interested in this whole card from top to bottom, man. This is a great card, and it's free, which makes it even a little bit better. But this is a good card. Even starting off with our first prelim of the night on Fight Pass, we got Ronnie Yaya taking on Luke Sanders. I'll let you take that one, Gib.
I think I watched that calf slicer submission that Alcantara pulled off so many times on Luke Sanders. But that being said, Luke Sanders still beat up Luke Sanders still beat up Alcantara the entire fight before he got it, and worked on the ground. Once he puts his weight on you, it's real difficult to get out of positions when he wants to hold you and escape his submission attempts. He'll go right back to punching, so he can be really annoying. And on the feet, if he clicks with you and he goes to the ground with you, good luck. He does tend to repeat himself on the stand up at some time, but Ronnie Yahya as well, a bit of a submission machine. He's really quick to block and counter on the feet. Good at closing distance. Got a good 1-2. I really like the Joe Soto fight because I guess that's the best blueprint on how to beat him. Constantly go for submissions and just make him confused. Get him going for takedowns lots and almost get him to run himself out. He had a real nice triangle choke against Russell Dwayne though in their fight. That fight was pretty much all groundwork and a little bit of standing. Ronnie Yahya loves to dart in and out, but that's kind of what got him dropped by Soto in that fight. So I'm wondering if maybe Sanders can hit that same type of punch, which not hard to, as Ronnie Yahya really has a beeline for you, like straight down the pipe. He's always seems to be open. Really big, hard stopping shot could probably drop him, but it's hard to weather his storm, and especially on the ground, because that's what you have to do once he gets you there. Both fighters are really good on the ground, but I kind of give it to Ronnie Yahya on the feet if he doesn't get too tired with the takedowns, because he can take a little bit of time after failing one to get back up in the later rounds of that Joe Soto fight. But recently he's been doing great, and Luke Sanders looking for a win here too.
Yeah, I'm on the other way around. I think Ronnie Yahya is better on the floor, and Luke Sanders is better on striking. But Luke Sanders didn't look all that good against Patrick Williams, and then he got clipped by Andre Sukuntoth. Was beating up Alcantara, like you said, before he got a rolling leg lock, and then we got Ronnie Yahya, who just has been looking really good on the floor, man, against Russell Doan, Henry Briones, and the Joe Soto fight was kind of like that blueprint, like you said, like how to beat him if you want. I thought he won that Joe Soto fight.
Really? I don't know, man. Soto knocked him down in that first, and he kind of kept that nice lead, and he looked pretty good on the ground too.
No. I just I remember it like he won, but he lost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, Joe Soto was bleeding, so I mean, props to him.
Yeah. But good fight overall. I didn't bet this fight, but I think Ronnie Yahya gets the job done. I think Luke Sanders has a poor fight IQ, and it gets the better of him here in this fight, and I think he gets submitted by Ronnie Yahya. Okay, next up we got Drew Dober taking on John Tuck, and Drew Dober is like, just to quote Joe Rogan, his legs are fucking tree trunks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's got some huge legs, and He throws some nasty leg kicks. He can go with a head kick too. He's got some really nice Muay Thai. He throws a very nasty body kick as well. Good hands, good wrestling, good top control. Just a good all around athlete. Surprised at his record that he's 19-8. I thought he would have a way better record, but I guess he lost early on in his career a bit. But yeah, I like Judo. I like him training at Team Elevation and like cross training at Easton's as well. Um, and getting it in with Corey Sandhagen and Justin Gaethje. He's coming down to 155 for this fight, so he's gonna be looking like a big boy in there. He's fighting John Tuck. Well, like he's fought at 155 his most of his career, but went to welterweight the last time, his last fight, and thought he looked good. I thought that he would have stayed at welterweight, but I guess he's come back down to lightweight. John Tuck, on the other hand, is a decent striker and whatnot, but I just think he's not on the same level as Judo. I think Judo is like higher level of striking, higher level of ground game as well. I think John Tuck's got a nasty submission game, but other than that, it's like a sub or bust in this fight for John Tuck. So I got Drew Dober. I got 4 units on him at let me find that out. I believe at minus 181. Yeah, minus 181 to win 2.21 units. So yeah. I'm on the Drew train.
True. I completely see why. I think Tuck is a tricky fighter on the ground, and you can get around to the armbar if he wants and get a hold of you when he does it late. Likes to really go for that submission at like the 2 to 3 minute mark. Beating Jake Lindsay with heel strikes on the ground. Really weird submission. And I think his match with Drew Dober might go similarly to his Kevin Lee fight. During that Kevin Lee fight, Kevin Lee tends to be really aggressive with his boxing, which Drew Dober has a lot of. Showed it in the Frank Camacho fight, which he looked good against Camacho, but Camacho had a lot of good moments in that fight, especially in like the last few rounds. Camacho started landing some real big combos, big kicks to the body too, giving Dober a taste of his own medicine. But John Tuck, I mean, he does go for body kicks as well, and he even follows up with a side kick. But that actually showed his back in the Kevin Lee fight and got him taken down early. He didn't look very good on the fence. And, his low kick tendencies cost him a lot of points taken away because he ended up low-blowing Kevin Lee in that fight, which, tendencies when you're throwing wild kicks. So I think Dauber beats him. I think he has good boxing, like you said, great wrestling. I think he'll be able to avoid the submissions if it does get down there.
Muay Thai is outstanding.
Yeah. I think he'll be able to keep up the kicks. And John Tuck does have some kicks as well, but I think Dauber has them for a little bit longer. And with the punches behind it, as well as the force and the stopping power, I think that'll be the icing. And I think he's got a lot of the weapons in this fight. So I got you, Dauber.
All right, next up we got Joanne Calderwood taking on Kalindra Faria. And Joanne Calderwood making her debut at 125. Actually, she was the first fight ever at 125, I believe, against what's her name, Valerie Letourneau. Yeah, they had a fight back beforehand a couple years ago, and it was a flyweight bout, and I believe they were the first ever flyweight bout ever. And then whatever, she has a tough time making 115. So she's joined the flyweight division, and her kickboxing's nasty, man. She's a good striker. She's got a good ground game as well, good wrestling. I like her a lot. against Kalindra Faria. I think Kalindra Faria has a good game as well. Not the best stand-up, but she has a shoot box style. And she's not that good on the ground. That's kind of where she faults at. Um, but yeah, I see Joanne Calderwood taking this one, and I got Joanne Calderwood 2 units. Joanne Calderwood minus 158 to win 1.26 units.
Yeah, I think Calderwood is no nonsense, straightforward. Wants to go for the KO and a spinning side kick of hers, or or a teep even. She stands a little tall at times, but that's just to get her reach of the kick. And again, it shows. She was slammed by Andrade in that first round and got some really bad grappling pressure hooked in early, which could be bad for her if Faria goes for a takedown or anything. But Kalindra Faria had a real tough time against Jessica Ai, and it was pretty much a full-on grappling match. Trading leg locks. She gave up her back a few times, and Kalindra was able to continue the match on the feet, and she even gave Ai some problems with a side kick connecting and a high kick. So, she could be real crazy with those. But I think if she was standing for a little bit longer, we might have seen her true tendencies. Again, the fight didn't spend much time on the stand-up for it to really show. I think she has great kicks, Kalindra Faria. I'm just curious if it can go right up against Calderwood. I think this is a good fight. I'm leaning towards Kalindra Faria, though. I think she's still pretty decent on the ground, even though she did tend to give up her back in that Jessica Ai fight, and she got submitted by Romero before that. But I think she's probably made a lot of good adjustments, and she's ready to fight Joanne Calderwood, who doesn't have any submissions in her game, and it'll be dangerous on the stand-up for her, but if she can get past it on the ground, I think she can take it.
All right. Next up, we got Mickey Gall taking on George Sullivan. And, Mickey impressed me in this last fight. Even though he lost, he impressed me just because of the fact that I had fucking 7.5 units, I think, or more on Randy Brown. Maybe 8 units I had on him. And I thought it was going to be a walk in the park with his striking. But it was a huge mismatch in the striking department. I thought Randy Brown had the takedown defense to keep it standing and to really dictate the pace of the fight. He did kind of dictate the pace of the fight, but he didn't keep it standing as much as I wanted him to. But he still got the win. There was in the second round, he lost the second round to Mickey Gall there. And Mickey looked good in that second round. He took his back at one point, I believe, and he looked good on top of Randy Brown.
Yeah.
Mickey Gall's been working with Joe Schilling and Eve Edwards at the Muscle Farm gym, and Avery's been getting a lot of work in. That's become his main striking coach right now. He's gonna have Joe Schilling in his corner. I'm liking Mickey Gall a lot in this fight. George Sullivan's coming off that submission to Nico Price.
Yep.
And he got knocked out by Alexander Yakovlev before that. Was fighting Dom Waters on a week's notice or some shit, and then Tim Means got choked out. The list goes on, and pretty much, man. The way I see this fight going is if it hits the ground, I think Mickey Gall is gonna sub him.
Yeah.
So I got Mickey Gall here, 3.2 units. In a parlay with somebody later in the card.
Yeah, Sullivan isn't much of a submission guy. I think I've seen him go for an Americana for mount once, but obviously hasn't gotten one yet. He's a jabbing and leg kicking guy. likes to really push the basics from start to finish if you'll let him and you give him space. I thought that's how he won the Dominic Waters fight. Waters gave him a lot of space to work, and Sullivan just started using a lot of his veteran tactics on him. He's had a lot of decision wins, so he's also ready to go the extra mile to hit 5 rounds, 3, doesn't matter. Obviously, the early goings could be real risky for him, as Mickey Gall is known to finish a lot of fighters who aren't up to snuff. I mean, again, not hard to take out CM Punk or Mike Jackson, but again, like he understands he understands where people's weaknesses are, and he can he pull the trigger when he needs to. He likes to pop the jab, and again, Randy Brown was a rough fight for him, but he will make you pay for a lot of missed strikes, which he did do against Randy Brown. Whenever he did miss, I thought that he was on him enough that he should have been. It's just he was a very strong opponent for him and a big step up, especially since Sage Northcutt. And if he wins this fight, I actually wouldn't mind seeing a rematch with him and Sage. I think that could be interesting, seeing as Sage has won a few of his fights recently. But I think from range, he can make this fight really difficult until he eventually decides to take it to the ground or even land a big shot after a counter and then pursue it on the ground. So I think Mickey Gall takes it. If he doesn't take it early, I think he'll win by decision.
All right. Next up. So who'd you get?
Mickey Gall.
Okay.
By decision or early knockout.
By early knockout, eh? Yeah. You're confident in those hands now?
Mickey Gall's against George Sullivan's? Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Me too. Next up, we have Andrew Sanchez to got Marcus Perez, and man, a lot of people knock Andrew Sanchez because of his lack of cardio, and his cardio isn't the greatest. Obviously, he's had trouble with it in the past, but it's mostly when he's looking for the finish against. I know you guys are going to bring up Anthony Smith, but that was late in the 3rd round, and whatever. I guess it got to him. Yeah, that was a good fight.
Awesome fight.
Good display of heart by Anthony Smith, but I think Andrew Sanchez got the better of him in the whole fight.
For sure. I think that too.
And then against Ryan James, he beat up Ryan James too, except in the 2nd round he started getting tired after he looked for the finish, and boom, he ended up getting finished. So I saw that happen, and then I didn't see that happening, but yeah, that pretty much went down, and then Andrew Sanchez taking on Hot Sauce, pretty much outpointed him on striking. Showed his striking for once, and looked pretty good at his point striking. And then against Khalil Roundtree, showed his when you need to go down to the mat, you can go down to the mat, and he can bring it. He can bring it to the mat for the whole time. I saw what Eric Anders did to Marcus Perez, how he took him down multiple times against the cage, and how he wrestled him, and just kept him at bay with his strikes as well. Andrew Sanchez fought at 205, but he's a natural 185er. Not a huge 185er, but he's going to be bigger than Perez. Perez looks like a 170er at times. Interesting fight, but I'm going with Andrew Sanchez here. I think Andrew Sanchez has the wrestling to really keep Marcus Perez down and set up some ground and pound to win some rounds here. If not, finish him late with a TKO. So I got Andrew Sanchez 3 units at -100 to win 3 units. Let's go.
I definitely think Andrew Sanchez has the heart to win it, especially in this fight with Anthony Smith. such a good one. I enjoy any fight that's really forcing a lot of good exchanges, extreme amounts of high level pace, and he just wasn't ready for Anthony's jiu-jitsu either, because there was a point where he had him mounted, and Lionheart just kind of flipped him over, got it really nice, and was able to turn the whole match around from that one position, because it wasn't looking very good. And like Andrew Sanchez, when he starts to get successful, like you said, he starts to kick the pace up, and it does tend to bite him if he doesn't get that finish, and it goes into the next round and the next round. Obviously, Marcus Perez, not bad at rolling either. He has arm triangle and rear naked choke submissions. He could potentially have more. I don't know how he has just little submissions. Eric Anders, obviously one of his first big fights. It broke his winning streak. It was one of his first losses, and one of the very few fights to go into the late rounds. Eric Anders wrestled him out and made it look real difficult for him at a decision. But I think Perez kept at it, and he was still really pressuring him, and it was hard for him to deal with it. But he took a lot of that experience, and he went into the James Brockovic fight, took him out in one round. So I see that as a big rally. What's that?
Brockovic sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, he still won a fight, and could have went the other way. You never know, man.
Yeah, but like he was so much higher level than Brockovic. Like that should have been a play on my end. I don't know how I didn't play that, but he's on another level than Brockovic.
You're gonna get a few setup guys in there. I mean, Mickey Gall's fighting thing, so I mean, everyone has setup fights at some point, right?
I guess so.
And I guess that was his. So he was able to at least make sure that it didn't repeat itself and get wrestled and lose another decision. So I still got Andrew Sanchez in this one. I think he can spark Marquez up on the feet, but if it does go to the ground, it could be deadly for Sanchez.
For Sanchez?
Yeah.
If it goes to the ground?
Yeah.
Are you on crack?
I don't know, man. Didn't you see see Lionheart Smith get him off of him? I mean, they're both pretty high level in jiu-jitsu. It's just that, hey, you still got out of position.
Did
it was
you
in the
see
first.
Eric Anders wrestle him? Out wrestle Marcus Perez? Eric Anders.
I mean, I don't know. Who's to say that Andrew Sanchez can get that at the same time? I mean, still a little bit younger.
He's a way better wrestler. Way better wrestler than Andrew Sanchez is. It's not even a comparison.
I don't know, man. Anything can happen. I'm still on that.
I think that's the fate of the week. The Gibb fate of the week right there.
Yeah, I still have Andrew Sanchez. I'm just saying, anything can happen.
All right. I'll let that one pass.
Decent on the ground.
I don't know. I think his striking isn't that good, Perez, and I think his ground game isn't that good. I think he's going to lose his fight here and be on his way pretty soon.
Be on his way.
Or they're going to tell him to drop down to welterweight. But next up, we got Corey Sandhagen taking on Yuri Alcantara. And Corey Sandhagen, man, the way he fucking moves is just dangerous. Cuts at very nice angles. Always moving with his shots. Just throwing like roundhouse, just very nice combinations. He's throwing very fluid. He looks great on his feet, man. He beat the fuck out of Austin Arnett. And ended up finishing him. And then if you watch some of his fights in LFA and stuff, he's looked good, man. He's looked dangerous. And then you got Yuri Alcantara, who in his last fight, took on Joe Soto, finished Joe Soto. Lost to Alejandro Perez, lost to Brian Kelleher, was getting destroyed by Luke Sanders, and then Yuri pulls off a fucking rolling leg lock or knee bar, whatever it was. Just tough fights he's been in. He hasn't had that good of a stretch, and I think Corey Sandhagen's one of these up and coming guys that are here to make a difference in the division. One of these young kids that are just like making impact, like an Alex Hernandez and stuff. So I got 4 units on Corey Sandhagen minus 223 to win 1.79 units.
Yeah, I think Alcantara's still dangerous. He's got a really weird bit of footwork, big elbow landing in the Pickett fight. Debatably a guy kind of up there in fights, but I mean, just when you think there's no way for him to win, he'll come out of nowhere, go for a submission. He looks like a dead fish, but all of a sudden just spurts back up into life and starts to work his jiu-jitsu and go for real big submissions. Again, these are all Hail Marys, but I think he's in a lot of dangerous spots in most of the time, whether he's kind of switching stances to avoid kicks in the air. I mean, I don't know how many people you see do that. I think Pickett threw a kick in their fight, and he just kind of jumped and switched weirdly. And it worked. He jumped back down and landed his next shot. But, he can accidentally jump into a lot of clean shots. Obviously not good, bit of an unorthodox footwork, but it also keeps his opponents back from him, which is what he needs. Corey Sandhagen, super slippery in the scrambles and the grapples and continues a really relenting pace, knocking out Austin Arnett and getting Andrew Tennyson in his fight. Real difficult 3-round fight, getting omoplata too. Nasty liver shot, likes to pick people apart to the body, walking fighters into kicks, nice stance switch, left and right hands against Zach Riley in an SCL striking match. If you really want to see him tee off, it's on YouTube. Real good fight. I think Corey Sandhagen wins. His stand-up is super deadly, and I think that's what gets him the fight for Alcantara, because I think he'll put himself into too much danger.
And he's gonna be big in there, man. He's like 5'10", 5'11", and he's coming down to bantamweight at 135, and he says the cut's easy for him. He says he's been walking around at 145. 145. He says he didn't have to even cut weight to make 145. So he said 135 is his weight class. So let's see that. So yeah, we both got Corey Sandhagen there. Next up, James Krause taking on Warley Alves. I'll let you take this one, Gib.
Pulled off major victories over Nordine Taleb and Colby Covington, both submissions by guillotine choke. He's so quick at pulling this thing off. Pretty sure he almost took out Kamaru Usman with a debatably close choke as well at the end. But again, he does take quite a bit of punishment for it. Not as bad as Alcantara, but he has taken quite a bit in order to get and fix a lot of his positions and grab his submissions. Against the fence, he attacks for a lot of his neck spots and can really surprise people with a spin kick that he seems to land flush with real nicely. James Krause, man, do not try to sneak in close against Krause, because in an instant he can make you look farther away from you than you think. He's really got a really nice reach with his jab. Likes to spark out there. Great knees, nice high kicks, a right front kick from the back leg. He can do cartwheel kicks. A really deadly guillotine as well that he can wrap up just as nice. I'd still give the better guillotine to Alves, but I mean, it's still pretty close, man. You got to watch both of these guys in the last 15 seconds because they could easily scramble something up. I like James Krause in this fight, though.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow, he's plus 300 right now. Big underdog.
Is he?
Yeah. But you got him. Oh, somebody told me, commented on one of our videos, that I have to hold you accountable for your picks.
Okay, no problem.
They said because you picked Luigi Burin.
Yeah, I did pick that.
That's good. You picked Luigi Burin.
I like an underdog story, man.
You're the funniest guy.
If I have to be accountable for that, hey, I don't mind.
Worley Alves, man, looked good against Sultan. I had him in that matchup, and Salim Touari as well. Against Kamaru, he kind of just got beaten up, man. Kamaru just made him look bad.
The whole of the fight.
And then he finished Colby Covington with that guillotine. Super. What was it? It was like a minute into the round or something only. It was only like a minute into the round, and boom, snaps on this guillotine, puts Colby Covington out. Well, he didn't put him out, but he tapped out. He's got some good striking, man. He's definitely a beast, man. And I think James Krause is in trouble making his way from lightweight to welterweight here. I think he didn't look his best against Alex White, and I thought where he shined was more in the Tom Galicchio fight, but against Tom, I think almost anyone can look good. It's been tough for James Krause, man. I think there's a big step up in competition for James Krause, especially as one of his first fights. If he wants to make an impact in the welterweight division, I think this is tough for him. But I'm going with Worley Alves here. I think he gets the job done. Okay, next up, we hit our main card. We got Eric Yaboy Anders. He got Tim Williams. Eric Anders, man. What can I say? Arguably won his last fight. Tough split decision against Lyoto Machida. Beat up Marcus Perez, and then knocked out Rafael Natal. He's looking good in the UFC so far, and I think this is a cakewalk matchup for him against Tim Williams. I don't like saying that just in case, but he's a minus 1100 at the moment.
Whoa.
Minus 1400 in some places.
14.
But he's probably gonna get the job done. I'd say first round finish here for Eric Anders. Tim Williams got knocked out. I'm pretty sure got knocked out by Oscar Piota in his last fight, and he just didn't show anything that even looked good. So I'm going with Eric Anders here to get the job done rather quickly.
Yeah, I think Tim Williams is fighting a little too tall and tripping over the fence a little bit in the Muhammad Abdullah fight. Tim Williams is a little difficult to fight in the close range and in the clinches. A lot of knees and body lock takedowns. But Eric wrestles, and Eric also football player, so very fast at getting rid of that and putting on his own putting out his own takedown or putting on his own type of grip. Can be a little robotic with the stand-up, Tim Williams. Believe it or not, he can pull off a spinning backhand at times. Not a very fancy move, but he, he still used it against Abdullah in their fight. I mean, Eric Anders had to take on Lyoto Machida. Still had a lot of forward pressure. I think he was a little hesitant in that fight, but I mean, who wouldn't be? You're fighting a real high-level opponent. Again, was undefeated before that on a great win streak. It's really just a bit of a pit stop for now. I think he really easily goes through this fight and gets back into the talks for another title or possibly fighting the next guy in line for it.
Yeah, possibly, man.
He's handing a lot of guys their first loss as well. So before that,
I think this is just an easier matchup for him. I thought he would get somebody big in competition since he took on Lyoto Machida in his last fight. I thought he would get somebody a bigger name, but Tim Williams it is. Eric Anders. And earlier when I was talking about Eric Anders' ground game, I'm not saying he's not a good wrestler. That's why he out-wrestled Marcus Perez. I'm saying Anders Sanchez is a better wrestler than Eric Anders, so he should have no problem doing the same thing that Eric Anders did, especially if you watch a snippet of what George St. Pierre says to Anders Sanchez. He actually tells him he's the best he's ever been against for cage wrestling. He said Anders Sanchez is the best cage wrestler he's ever been against.
Sure.
So Anders Sanchez is the real deal, but Eric Anders is the real deal as well, and I think he gets the job done rather quickly here. So I'll go with a first-round stoppage for Eric Anders. Next up, we got John Moraga taking on Davison Figueiredo. Gib, I'll let you take this one, man.
You know what? John Moraga extremely fast in the Wilson Reyes fight, who, in my opinion, could be very relentless in his takedowns in boxing, which Moraga is almost similar on that front. He's got a jab in your face at all times. He can use the elbow and the knee in really creative ways, sometimes going downward strikes, upwards. You don't see it much. And again, at these weights, it's just super quick. Obviously lost it against Demetrius Johnson back in 2013, but still in that fight connected a real big shot, big right hand that made DJ kind of rethink his game plan from there. Moraga turned a 3-fight losing streak into a 3-fight winning streak and awaiting a fourth, possibly even looking to go up maybe for another title shot. Moraga could be blitzing fast at times and very difficult to handle, especially when you see his knees coming. But he can be taken off balance once his one foot's on the floor. So takedowns are a big thing to consider. Figueiredo, super headstrong, loves to drop his hands and talk shit. His hands are always hanging posture, kind of throws side kicks, donkey kicks. This guy doesn't care how he looks. He just likes to throw hands and look ready at all times. Great fight with Jared Brooks. A lot of brisk walking motions forward. Again, he's in a lot of dangerous spots, but he definitely thrives in it and he enjoys being there. He wings shots to the body, huge hooks and uppercuts. He's swinging like he's in the batter box for home runs. Good at faking one shot and then changing all of a sudden. Knocked out Joseph Morales savagely. So far, beaten 2 undefeated fighters, and he beat them pretty much super wildly. I think that could be his own doing. I mean, he could end up making a big mistake after, but as of now, that's working for him. So I actually don't know who wins this fight. I don't know, man. I think I think Figueiredo's super dangerous, but I mean he's got to lose sometime. So I'm wondering if Moraga is the time to bet on him, but I don't know. I guess I would take Moraga or sorry Figueiredo though, just because he has some crazy hands.
Yeah, man, powerful fucking hands.
Yeah.
Knocked out Joseph Morales, like you were saying, just brutal knockout.
That was terrible.
Marco Beltran, same thing, finished him. Just put it on him, hits you with the to the body, to the head. It's pretty much the John Lineker of the 125 division. Now that John Lineker is gone, big boy for 125. No clue how he makes 125. I think he struggles to make it, but that's for another day. Against John Moraga. John Moraga, like you were saying, looked good against Wilson Reyes, man. Looked good against Askin Mokhtarian. Looked good against Magomed. Even in that little short time, he looked really good against Magomed Bibulatov. I had a max bet on Magomed. I think I had 6 units on Magomed, and I lost those 6 units, man. Chicano fucking knocked him out. I had Magomed in a parlay. I remember that. Big parlay buster. But John Moraga is probably the cleanest striker of these guys. Has the straighter punches. They're going to get to point A to point B quicker. Davison Figueroa likes to throw a lot of hooks. Both these guys throw in combinations. They're both fast. They're a tough matchup, but I think John Moraga has a little bit of the edge of the wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might be a better wrestler, even though Davison is really good when he's on top. This is a tough match to call, but I'm going with Davison Figueroa as well. Next up, Jake Ellenberger take on Brian Bam Bam Barberena. And Bam Bam's a fucking gritty fighter, man. He's one of those guys that are he's gonna come to fight, man. He's gonna really like show up in your face. He's gonna bring the pressure. He's gonna bring his cardio. He's gonna fucking try and break you down, man. He's just dangerous.
Yeah.
Against he finished Sage Northcutt with that arm triangle from half guard or whatever it was. Finished Joe Proctor. Beat up Worley Alves. That was a good fight.
That
man.
was an awesome fight. The spinning kicks?
Yeah. And Barberena beat him up. So I think Barberena is no joke here. Jake Ellenberger has gotten finished in his last couple fights against Mike Perry and Ben Saunders. And his last fight was in June. I'm not sure how much his body can handle at this point. So I got Brian Barberena by devastation.
Devastation.
I got him and Mickey Gall in a 3.2 unit parlay, minus 160 to win 2 units.
Okay. Yeah. Jake Ellenberger, man, grizzly vet. Doesn't back down from any sort of fight, taking on top prospects. He's had better days, obviously, when he was fighting Matt Brown. A ton of stopping power in that first round after a brawl broke out. Got a huge body kick and was able to end the fight that way. Obviously, it's hard for him to make it past that second round due to his style. A real juggernaut on the feet. Works for takedowns after combos. Does not like to give any breathing room. Gets into brawls very easily. But again, you're right into Barberena's game there. He really shines in these exchanges. Like in the Wally Alvarez fight, very busy with a jab. That I thought won him a lot of that fight. Great at shot selection, picking what he's going to do next. Winging uppercuts in just the right spots, able to avoid Alves's guillotine. I think that's a big feat in and of itself. And he even threw a spinning kick at him And Barberena was real quick on the back step and was able to get out of there. And again, he was one of the first people to try and go Sage Northcutt when, you know, not a lot of people knew who Barberena was, at least, because Sage was getting all the hype. You know, so I think Brian Barberena shows why he's still a big name, and I think he takes out Ellenberger and hopefully on to a lot cooler fights after. I think it could turn ugly if obviously he gives this guy space, but Jake Ellenberger's on shaky legs, and you know, if Barberena can get him into a brawl early, he could be able to end his night early too. So I got Barberena in this one.
Yeah, I like Barberena too. So this, yeah. Next up, we got Courtney Casey taking on Angela Hill. Angela Hill's got some nice in and out movements, some good striking. Um, Lots of nice low kicks. Probably the grappling advantage in this matchup. She's a good wrestler as well, especially for her size. But what impresses me the most is her movement and her striking in and out. Um, and then you got Courtney Casey, who struggles to have like the best fight IQ. Um, has struggled at times in fights, losing decisions a lot of the time to Michelle Watterson, Felice Herrig, Jessica Aguilar she beat, but Joanne Calderwood when she lost, and she had Calderwood hurt in that fight at the beginning, but she didn't finish. I think that was good. That was a good representation of like her fact that she needs her fight IQ to step up. But tough fight for her, man. Not the best record, 7-6. I do like Angela Hill a lot in this spot, so I took 3 units. I believe at minus 141. 3 units at minus 141 to win 2.12 units. Angela Hill, let's go.
Yeah, I think I got Angela Hill for this one too. I really enjoy Angela Hill's weigh-ins. Always interesting to see her come in as a Street Fighter character. I know she's went as Dalzim and Sagat from Street Fighter. That's awesome. In terms of fighting, likes to throw the double right hands and pop kicks off of a deadly overhand, which she's really good. She's really good eye for. She was able to land that a lot in her in a previous fight she had against JJ Aldridge. It was a little bit of a tough fight for her. She didn't win it, but I meant to say Marina Moroz. Sorry, she really found a spot for that right hand, able to pick her apart. The in and out movement helped her a lot too. And she's progressed a lot through each fight. Early on, being pinned up against Tisha Torres and Rose Namajunas, who are both extremely high level as of that point. And you know, if you're not that dangerous, I mean, she's gonna go for you. And she likes to pick people apart. She likes to nickel and dime. Very fast in those early rounds. Can be very difficult to get a hold on early. Courtney Casey, again, fighting some top competition as well. Recently, Felice Herrig and Michelle Watterson. In the Herrig fight, she went right to work with kicks on the front leg. And it was a split decision. It was a real rough fight. She had her shots in the exchanges. I think she punches a lot for the side. She tends to land a lot, actually, hit the sides of the body. And she even hits a few down the middle. But she leaves a real big space right to to her chest for like a body shot or a front kick or something like that. Felice Herring did make a lot of things difficult, but Courtney Casey was able to go for a Kimura and get side control out of a tight spot in the early round. I think that's a big skill set for her if she needs to get out of a spot. Very good at staying out of range with her strikes, and she strikes from real far away. She does tend to get jammed up if people get too close. So I think that's why Angela Hill beats her. She can be real scrappy in the pocket when she is there, and again, she'll pick you apart if you let her. And if Courtney Casey isn't staying at that far range and not getting into close distance, she might be able to keep her away. But I think Angela Hill takes it for this one.
Yeah, I believe so as well. Let's go with the co-main event of the evening. Michael Johnson taking on Andre Fili. I'll let you take this one, Gib.
Really good fight. Andre Fili needs to be able to weather the Michael Johnson storm, because first off, the last 5 fights that Johnson had were some of the most unforgettable fights. Had to fight Nate, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. A lot of my personal favorite fights that he's had. Real big gas tank. He can keep coming. He can keep throwing punches. Big knockout over Poirier. I was a big fan of that. Since then, he hasn't been able to capture that same lightning in a bottle. But again, it's real close, because if Andre Fili fights the same fight that he did against Artem Lobov, he could find himself in a lot of bad positions. I thought Andre Fili, he still beat Andre Lobov, but I thought he stayed a little too far back. I thought he was stepping backwards a lot. I thought he wasn't exactly landing a lot of the big shots that he likes to land, getting the takedowns. Great wrestling, actually. Likes to go for tackle type takedowns, and very deadly. He's got that long kind of loose build. Likes to throw his jabs. Likes to throw really pull the rug out from underneath his opponents when he gets that takedown and keeps you there. Good fast hands. Ducks under punches on a few occasions, and will snake a takedown right away if you let him. Against a lot of opponents, he shows some disengaging tactics. Like I said, I think that spells doom for you if Michael Johnson is starting to walk and stalk you down. It's a lot of those back and retreating movements that walk you into the next shot. The thing about Michael Johnson is once he throws that flurry, he's tired for a while, and for a good 5 seconds, he's kind of needs to regain that stamina back. And if you force him to fight you off all the time, eventually he'll just have longer and longer rest periods in which you can take advantage of. So Andre Fili needs to do that, but I think Michael Johnson is extremely difficult to fight. It might only take 1 or 2 shots. I'm sure Andre Fili has the power to put Michael Johnson on the floor. Hell, even throw a real big uppercut with his hands that he has. He's been able to do it in other fights, but I think Michael Johnson is just a little better with the striking, and he's fought a lot of high-level opponents as well that he can kind of look at and go, man, you don't hit that hard, and really swing back. So I got Michael Johnson in this fight.
Yeah, as I'm casually just laying down here, breaking down this one. Michael Johnson, his hands are quick, even at 45 against Darren Elkins. You can see he's lost not even like a little bit of speed. His hands are still as quick, and he's brought the power down with him to 145. He's still a really good wrestler, good grappler. Even though he got out grappled by Darren Elkins, but hey, man, that's fucking Darren Elkins.
Mm-hmm.
His fight, he cracked Justin Gaethje in his fight against him. Like, almost had him finished at one point if you wanted to pounce on him. Cracked Khabib, knocked out Dustin Poirier, and his fight with Nate Diaz, where he got outworked. Um, I think he's fought the better competition. I think he's a little bit faster on the feet. I think he gets the job done. Andre Feely, on the other hand, um, just beat Dennis Bermudez, Artem Lobov, lost to Calvin Qatar there, and then but he's been on the streak as of late. He's been winning one, losing one, losing two, winning three, winning whatever. Man, he's been on an up and down streak. But I think this is a tough fight for him. I think Michael Johnson's the better boxer here, and I think it's going to be tough for Undefeated to get down to the mat. So I got Michael Johnson here as well.
All right.
Okay, next up is the main event: Justin Gaethje versus James Vick. Justin Gaethje, the highlight, really impressive in all his fights, man. The guy's an animal, just like fucking workhorse, always bringing the action, always showing up, fucking like showing up to the fight, man. You know what I mean? Bringing the best out of his opponent. In the Michael Johnson fight where you finished him, he really has like a mean streak to him as well. If you see, he's dangerous, man. Once he can hurt you, and he knows you're hurt, he takes his time and he just pounces on you and he just finishes you like that. 50 knockouts. Just well, I thought he had more than 50 knockouts, but apparently he only has 15 knockouts. I thought he had like 17. But 15 knockouts and
one submission.
Yeah, one submission. I think that's the strikes though. I think the guy tapped the strikes. I'm not sure. Or he might have finished them by submission. But tough fight to call, man. James Vick, on the other hand, fucking long body kick, nasty jab, very big for this division at lightweight, 6'3". Fits into 155 very well. Always makes the weight. This is a tough fight to call, man. This is a super tough fight to call. I'm gonna go with Justin Gaethje here to get the win. I think he does it and he gets the job done.
Yeah, I like this fight a lot because as I was watching a lot of Moraga footage, I looked at the knees, and I think James Vick has an amazing knee, real big in his fights, and I think that could be the weapon that possibly puts Justin Gaethje on the back foot, because it's a short leg shot that's sure to do some high damage at a close range that Justin Gaethje kind of likes to hang out at. It might even be good to counter off the leg kick if he does miss. He always has that wild miss every now and then, but Gaethje's pressure that he brings to his fight is very similar to Michael Johnson, which is why they had a very, very close fight, just because they were pretty much toe-to-toe, right close to each other. And the person stepping back in that fight pretty much loses. With lots of his leg kicks, he makes you step back, and it can really tax a person. But if James Vick can keep the knees going and maybe keep that a weapon throughout the fight, I think he might be able to keep it close. Poirier and Eddie Alvarez definitely prove the type of tenacity that you need in order to go head-to-head with Justin Gaethje, because in that time, you're going to take some shots. Justin Gaethje is, I guess, the time to hit him is in between his combos. So when he's throwing a lot of those big 5 or 6 shot combos, when he's trying to fight people off you got to try to hit him either in between or at the end, and make sure that you have a counter ready, because this guy, after seeing Michael Johnson throw punches and stop, Justin Gaethje is right on it and just blitzes right back. And I can see James Vick missing and just being jumped on right away. Justin Gaethje has wrestling that he just kind of uses to get up or get people off of him. He got like a submission apparently super early in his career, probably due to strikes as well. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see one. It'd be interesting, but I think the sense on the stand up, if James Vick doesn't get that knee working, I feel like that might be a weapon that he can use. The submission, I mean, maybe if he can get him on the floor, he could. But I mean, Justin Gaethje can wrestle out of it, and he loves to fight people off of him. And it's just not where you want to be, especially when Justin Gaethje is throwing a lot of dangerous shots. So I got Justin Gaethje in this fight. I think he finally wins one, and maybe even goes on to fight a rematch with either Eddie Alvarez or Dustin Poirier, hopefully.
I don't want to see
that. Or Michael Chandler if he jumps in the UFC.
I want to see Gaethje fight like Edson Barboza.
That'd be a big fight.
Yeah, that's a good fight.
That'd be a really good fight.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that's it, guys, for UFC Lincoln, Gaethje versus Vick. Bets, breakdown, predictions. There we go. Let's cash these bets this weekend, guys. Take care.
Guys.